Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from HolsingerFlyShop.com. Got a dry fly for you today. This fly is the CDC Quilled Caddis. Not too hard of a fly to tie. It's a great floating fly. It's an elk hair style tie. And it's not real hard, a little bit difficult anytime you get into the hackle, getting the hackle tied down, not crowding the head, that kind of stuff is a little bit more difficult, but it's not real hard. Anybody can tie it. And just with a little practice is all you really need. We're going to put some CDC underneath the elk hair to give it a little bit extra flotation. This would be a great fly for a dropper. Of course, I'm going to be tying this on a barbless hook, so you don't really want to drop a dropper off a barbless hook because it's not gonna stay on real well. So the fly I'm tying here, I wouldn't really use as the dropper. Use the barbed hook if you're going to use a dropper. So let's get into tying this. I'm sure you're going to like it. It's a really good looking pattern. Alright, this is our CDC Quilled Caddis. And let's get the hook in the vise here. We're going to be tying this on with a fire hole 316. And it's a nymph emerger style hook. It's got a nice bend to it. That's why I like it for this fly. And for the thread, we're going to use 70 denier, and this is a brown colored thread. So we're just going to wrap it on, and we're going to get it started on there. Then the next thing we're going to add to it is synthetic tapered peacock quills. These are the holographic ones from Hemingway. You can see there's lots of shine to it, and the color I'm using here is tan. And you've seen me use these before a couple times. What you do is, it's a sticker, and you have to peel the sticker off the plate there, and it's tapered. That's hence the name tapered. And goes from thick to skinny, and you're going to tie the skinny end down. One side of it is sticky. It's like tape, and it's like a metallic tape. And the other side is has the quill to it. So you're going to tie it down with the quill side down, with the sticky side facing up. So when you go to wrap it on, the sticky side, you can see, you can't see real well, you'll see it as it goes, but the sticky side is going to wrap down first. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this a little bit further around the bend of the hook. There we go. I like to use more of the hook because it's real thin. It's not going to affect the hook at all with hook set or anything like that. And I'm going to build up just a little bit of body because all you got on there is that thin tape. So I like to build just a little bit of body to give it a little bit more natural look. And then all you're going to do is start winding this up the hook. And you're going to keep it side by side. Try not to let any gaps through there. And you'll see this is a very simple way to get a quill look out of in your fly. It just wraps on so nice that there's no wetting or anything like that with natural quills. You don't have to strip your own or wet them or anything like that to get them to twist and then worry about them breaking. You see how easy that was to wrap that on there, and you see the look it gets. Such a nice job on that. Nice natural look to it. Nice, you can see it there. What I am going to do, I'm going to hit it with just a touch of UV Fly Finish Flow. And boy, I got a lot of tongue twisters in this video tonight. Just going to hit it with just a touch of it. Just enough to protect it. If the fish bites it, gets his teeth on it or whatever, it's not going to tear it up as much. And then we'll hit it with our light just to seal that. The next thing we're going to use is a CDC puff. And the color I'm going to use on this is ginger. And I'm just going to use one of them. So I'll open up the pack here and pull one puff out. If you don't have puffs but you have feathers, you could use two feathers. You get the same, use the end of the feathers. You can see how this is kind of just like the end of the feathers. So I have been tying them without the puffs. I just grabbed some here at the shop. And before I was tying them with two feathers side by side, but since I got the puffs, that's what the puffs are made for here. We're just going to tie them down, and I don't really want to go too much further than the bend of the hook, so that's a little bit longer than I want. There you can see, I'm lined up pretty much straight with the back of the hook, and that's where I want to tie this down at. And now I'm just going to cut this off. And then we'll finish wrapping this down. And I want to keep a nice smooth transition here. And I want to leave a lot of room so I can put some hackle on here too. Now that I got the CDC puff tied on, I'm going to come in with some elk hair. And this is bull elk. I'm just going to pinch off a patch of it and cut it off the hide there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it in my fingers, pinch all the tips together, okay? And then I'm going to pull the backs out. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling all the fluff and all the under hair out of it. Once you get all that out of it, then we're going to put it in our hair stacker. Okay, and we'll drop it down in our hair stacker. And we're going to smack it on our hand or the table a couple times to get all the fibers lined up. And there you can see how all the tips line up nice and neat. Now that we have all our tips lined up, we're going to put it on the hook. And I'm going to go just past the CDC fibers. You can see how at that point I'm just past them. So I'm going to pinch it on top here. And then we're just going to cinch this down. About 2 or 3 wraps there. We'll get it cinched down where we want it. And then I'm going to take the rest of it. And I'm going to trim it down as tight as I can to the hook. Okay, now you saw how I cut that at an angle, so I left a nice angle there on the hair, which I'll now take to taper down to this eye. Okay, then just wrap that off nice. Do not get too big with it because we're going to put our hackle on here now next. So now you can see how that all laid on there nice and neat right on the top. You got that CDC underneath it to give you a little extra float. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in with our hackle feather. For this fly I'm going to use a dark barred ginger. You can use a brown, you can use whatever you have, it doesn't really matter. I like this, I like the dark barred ginger, I tie a lot with them. I just like the natural color of them when it wraps on there. So I'm going to cut it off, trim it off, and I'll trim it down. You see how I got it facing, the point facing back here. We're going to tie it in. One thing you can do to get it to tie in a little bit better is you can peel a couple of the fibers back and trim them off like that. That'll give you a little extra something to grip onto. Those fibers missing. So that's a cheap little trick there to help you out. And then we're just going to wrap it forward here. Now we're going to wrap our hackle on. And I want to wrap this forward. There we go. And we're just going to wrap it down, and we're going to get 4 or 5 wraps here about. And we're going to leave ourselves some room to tie off at the front. There we go. Now we're going to make sure we try not to trap any fibers down. And we'll just wrap this off. Now, oops, pull these back a little bit. There we go. And make a nice head on here now. And then we're going to whip finish this off to finish it up. And that is all that's to this fly. Like I said, it is a little bit more challenging than some. I don't like those sticking out, so I'm just going to trim them back a little bit. But it's not that hard of a fly to tie. Okay, you can see there, it's a nice elk hair style caddis with that nice quill body to it, give it a nice insect look to it. And this will be a great floating fly. Give it a try, it's not as hard as it looks, and I'm sure it will catch you fish. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I'm Sean Holsinger. Please take the time to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook and check it out at the shop to buy all the materials for these flies and more. Thanks again.